Hi everyone, I'm Vicky, one of the teachers here at Bread Ahead Bakery School. Today we're going to be learning how to make spiced pumpkin and toffee donuts. During this class you're going to be learning how to make a caramel. We're going to be working with pumpkin puree, well, of course our classic vanilla pastry cream, but with a twist. And then, well, the piping and the toffee sauce on top. So this is the perfect season to make this one, so prepare your ingredients because now we start baking. Okay, so let's start with the filling then. What we need to start with is some milk and the spices together. We are going to put them into a medium heat, and once it's simmering slightly, we can just switch it off. So here I have my full fat milk. And then we're going to add nutmeg and cinnamon. Good. It doesn't matter if they are not fully mixed, it's going to happen later that. So everything goes now on top of my induction, and I'm going to keep into a low medium heat. So now my milk is ready. Once you can see some steam coming out from the pan, that's okay. You can just keep the pan on the side. We're going to use it in a minute. The next step now is going to make our dry caramel. For that we need only sugar, and after that we're going to be adding some pumpkin puree. Now pumpkin is in season now, so you can just make your own puree. If you're doing this recipe in a different time, maybe you need to buy a pumpkin puree already made, but today we just made our own here. So first we're going to start with sugar. I have with me a pan. So for dry caramel, we don't need any liquid, it's just sugar. Spread it all over the base of your pan. And this now goes in a low heat. Once the caramel is light and golden, we're going to start incorporating the pumpkin puree bit by bit while we mix all together. Okay, so now the caramel is ready, I'm going to start adding bit by bit my pumpkin puree. So now, once the pumpkin puree is fully combined with our caramel, it's time to add our milk and the spices bit by bit and keep stirring. Once you have the milk in, we are going to keep stirring until the caramel is fully combined into our milk. Once it's boiling, you can just switch off your heat and keep everything in the pan. Once you have everything boiling, that's okay, you can just keep it in the pan, and now we are going to work with egg yolks and more sugar. For that we need a bowl and a whisk to incorporate both things together, so I'm going to grab a small bowl from here. We're going to be adding some yolks, some caster sugar and flour. A whisk, and let's go for all the yolks. The sugar and the flour. Hand whisk, and we're going to mix all together until the sugar is fully combined. That's it, ready. Now we are going to put both things together, your milk with the caramel and the pumpkin puree and the egg yolk mixture. So let's bring this pan near me. And with the help of a spatula, we are going to start mixing both things together. Now, don't go too quickly in one go because you can cook the yolks and then you're going to have like little pieces of scrambled eggs. So we can just go for a splash and then start whisking. Another splash. and keep whisking. And the last bit. Keep the same pan next to you because we're going to reuse it. Now, once you have your yolks mixed with the milk, the idea is to set everything back in the pan. So once it's all mixed, let's just put everything back in our pan. Take the spatula and scrape as much as possible. Now this is going to set on a medium heat, but while it's setting we need to keep whisking just to avoid burning our curd. So this goes back on a medium heat, whisk, and we're going to keep whisking until we have something nice and thick, similar to a bechamel pumpkin sauce. Okay, very good. So my pumpkin cream is ready. Now this needs to be completely cooled down before you use it for your donuts. So I'm going to transfer all this into a flat tray, cover it with some cling film or a greasy parchment paper just to avoid the skin on top. And then once it cools down, you can use it for your donuts or for any dessert. So you can just keep it in the fridge for at least 1 hour, or even you can make it in advance and keep it for 3 days. So my pumpkin creme pad is cooled down, so now we can move on to the next stage, which is going to be adding some whipped double cream into this. The reason because we do it is because the creme pad as it is great, but a bit stiff, so then the experience of eating a donut with the filling is not going to be the same. We are going now to whip some double cream with dark brown sugar. So I have here my double cream, everything into a mixing bowl. And to add extra color, I'm going to go for dark brown sugar. Hand whisk, and we're going to whisk until you reach stiff peaks. Done. Okay, so now once you have stiff peaks, we're going to transfer our cold creme pad into a mixing bowl. Taking the cling film out. Okay, and now with the help of our spatula, we're going to be incorporating this double cream slowly and folding over until both bowls are fully combined. Good, you can just feel how the mix is smoothing out, is more easy to handle. And once you can't see any double cream around, we are going to put everything into a piping bag, and then it's going to be ready for our donuts. Done. So this is what we have, something smooth, very good in color, and a piping bag with me. I'm going to also use a jug, so it can help me to hold my piping bag in the meantime. Right, let's pour all that content in the piping bag, and then we are done. And just take all the gases, all the air that we have in the filling, just press through the bag, and let's make a nice knot on the top. Done. So you can always prepare this cream in advance. This, as it is, can stay in the fridge up to 3 days, so maybe it's something you can start the day before. And once you put them in the piping bag, I would recommend you to keep them at least 1 hour before you start piping your donuts. The cream is getting softer, so it's good to keep your filling quite cold before you pipe. So I will put this in the fridge, and then we're ready to move on to the next step. Okay, so now I've got here my donuts, my pumpkin spice cream, and well, it's time to pipe them. After the piping, we're going to be making a toffee sauce, which is going to cover one of the sides of that donut, but we're going to be making it later. So first the piping and then the toffee sauce. So prepare your donuts, maybe a scissor or a knife to make the hole. So let me just grab one. Through the white part, let's just open it and cut through the middle. I'm going to do the hole in all of them. Okay, so once you have your donuts opened, let's just cut about 1.5 centimeters off from the piping bag. And now I'm going to hold the donut on my hand, holding the piping bag always from the top. Let's just go inside, and then slowly we're going to press from the top and super slow moving your arm up. Once you reach the top, that's it. We stop there. Let's repeat the same process with all of them. And as you notice, I'm just keeping them on the side. We are not going to do that classic peak that we put on the top, because this time all of them are going to be covered with a toffee sauce. So once you finish with your donuts, let's talk about the toffee. So what we need for that is going to be just sugar and butter. We're going to make a dry caramel first, and then we're going to take the pan up from the heat, adding the butter and keep stirring. Once all the butter is fully combined, we're going to keep it in a warm surface, and this is going to help us to go for a light crust of toffee sauce on the top. If your toffee sauce is cooling down, maybe the crust is going to be quite thick, so try to keep it warm during the process. I have here with me a small pan and I'm going to add all the sugar in one go. This sugar needs to be on a medium heat until it's nice and golden. And then we're going to be ready to add the butter. So my caramel is ready. I'm just taking this out of the heat, and then is when you need to add your butter. So we can just go for soft butter. Just be careful with the caramel, it's super hot. I'm going to mix everything with a spatula. And once that butter is fully melted, here you have your sauce ready to use. I'm going to keep it in a really low heat, and then is when you can start putting your donuts inside. You have two options. You can just hold the donut with your hand. We're going to soak them in and then we take them out. Or if you're scared because it's too hot, you can use maybe a spoon and just go for a nice drizzle on the top. So I will show you both options. While this is hot, I'm going just to hold my donut and go in, soak just half, and then we lift. We take the excess quickly, and like this, we just keep it on the tray. Be careful with your fingers. So let's go for another one. Just hold it with your hand. Let's go for 1/2 only. Take quickly the excess, and like this on your tray. Another option with a spoon. With a spoon, you take some and we just go quickly for a nice drizzle on the top. I'm going to finish all of mine. Now, this amount is going to be enough for about 10 donuts. So if you are planning just to make 5 or less than 10, any leftover toffee sauce, you can just keep it in the fridge and use it for your desserts or for some ice cream if you want. And let's go for another drizzle. So the toffee sauce is cooling down quite quickly, so that's why it's important to have your donuts ready before you prepare the toffee sauce. So here we have spice, pumpkin and toffee donuts. They are super hot to eat right now. Also, if you want to add a little bit of saltiness in here, maybe now is the time to go for a bit of flaky sea salt on top. That's optional, but as they are not safe to eat right now. Let's wait about 15 minutes, 10 maybe, and then you can enjoy them warm. Now, the best way to eat them is on the day, I will say in the next 3 hours maybe. So if you're making a lot of donuts, well, you need to share with someone. You cannot keep them in the fridge. I think once you put a fried dough in the fridge, the experience is not going to be the same. So best to eat them now. Any leftover filling, you can keep them in the fridge for about 3 days, and also the toffee sauce, if you want, maybe for about 5 days, is going to be perfect to eat. Well, so this is the end of the class. Thank you very much for being here. I hope you enjoy. I hope you learned something different today, and I will see you in the next baking class next month.